and why it isn't working for you. I see so many people following the manifestation trends that are out there. And sometimes people do have a little bit of success with it, but very often people don't. They feel very frustrated and they don't make the progress that they would like to. Hi, my name's Victoria. I am a personal development and money mindset coach, and I help people to really build their inner prosperity so that they can enjoy a fulfilling life. So, manifestation is one of those things that is just so popular right now. You Google manifestation and you are going to get so many different results coming up. And most of them are going to say to you, go and act as if you've already got the results and keep at it, keep pushing, and they will come. Now, I'm not knocking the working from having, the energy of already having the results. That is actually valid. But what I often see in the manifestation space is that people give so much power away and they're not truly present. So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit more today. So, what I also see in the manifestation space is how desperate people are. Okay, so let's just start there for a minute. Lack is kind of our default setting. Okay, wherever you are in your life financially, etc., you have been taught limits. Okay, you have been taught some forms of limits. Now, when I say I talk about money mindset, I work with people who have nothing, I work with people who have minus, and I work with people who have thousands and thousands, tens of thousands stashed away. Now, all that we have been taught is limits when it comes to money. And those limits might be that your ceiling is to earn £60,000 a year, or it might be that poverty is actually what you have been taught. But essentially, we all have these limits. And let's be honest, society reinforces these. So lack and scarcity becomes very much the narrative that so many of us are living by. We're literally surviving from one payday to the next payday. If we're running our businesses, I do predominantly work with business owners, we're sometimes surviving client to client. And what is so often seen is this pattern of excitement when we perhaps sign a client, and then literally within a couple of minutes, we're spiraling into, well, what am I going to do in a month's time when that money has finished or that client has finished their work with me? So lack is pretty much our default. And when we have this as a default, of course, this is running all of the time. So then we decide that we're going to manifest something different in our lives, and we get excited and we get, really focused on what it is we want to create. And a lot of the advice out there is really focus on what you want, really, write it down, focus on it. And again, it's good to be putting out clear instructions. However, the attachment so often is sky high when it comes to people putting out their message. Honestly, the attachment is going to block the manifestation itself, because actually you are attached and you are expecting those results, okay? The key is to not expect. The key is to trust. Okay. And this is where so many people do get stuck, because, it's how can they trust? They've got that because they're living in the future. They're thinking, well, I've got bills to pay. I've got X, Y, and Z to pay for. So they're in the future. So even though they're maybe putting out to the universe what they want, and maybe they're doing some positive affirmations at various points in the day, underlying those is the truth that they are in lack. Okay, and we can't fool the universe. So I would say don't get too hung up on writing down that goal. Okay, goals I think are really kind of depends what it is for. If you are running a business and you have quarters you want to plan and you want to have clarity, then goal setting is really useful. If, however, you are approaching your manifestation techniques from a place of setting goals, like I will achieve X, Y, and Z by this point, what happens when you don't? You get really down on yourself, okay? And you spiral into that shame and doubt. And you sometimes actually go a little bit further back, because this is all to do with your identity. And I'm not going to focus on that too much today. I just wanted to talk really about manifestation. So, Yes, so many people have put so much emphasis on what they want. Okay, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're telling the universe want. Okay, the universe is going to work on reflection, which is why that energy of already having the results is so important. But it works on reflection. So if you are saying, I want £10,000 months, I want a new BMW, I want to be financially fit, the universe is just going to give you some want back. Okay. And it's because if you've got everything written down, I mean, it's good to have visual reminders that help you feel, because feeling is what's so important. But if those visual reminders are simply reminding you that you don't have something and are making you feel frustrated, then that is not the way forward. That is not a valid technique for you when it comes to manifestation. So, what can you be doing instead? Well, as I say, it's all about how you feel. The universe doesn't speak English, okay? It doesn't speak French. It doesn't speak any of the global languages that we have. It talks in frequency, okay? And of course, our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings create our vibration. Our vibration creates our frequency. So, it is really important for us to put out really good feelings, okay? But again, it's quite tricky, isn't it, if we don't feel good? If we're trying to manifest from a place where we're desperate, because let's not forget, we have been taught lack all our lives. So, we get to most people come to manifestation when they are desperate, when they are like, oh my goodness, if I don't manifest £10,000 in the next week, that's it. Okay, so that lack is so prevalent in the manifestation that they are doing. So it's affecting their feeling. Okay, they might be doing the affirmations, they might be writing down what they want, they might be releasing things, but essentially, they are still broadcasting that frequency, and it is coming out from that place of lack. So I always recommend that actually, rather than just throwing yourself into manifestation, it's so much better as a foundation to really look at your foundation, really look at what is your relationship to the thing that you wish to manifest. Okay, that is so important to do. If you are looking to manifest more money, well, what is your current money relationship? Yeah, if you are looking to manifest a new relationship, how do you currently feel about yourself? Okay, because let's not forget, everything is going to work on reflection, dependent on that frequency that you are putting out. So it's really important to look at how you feel. So let's just take money for an example. How do you feel about money? Honestly, when money crops up as a conversation, how do you feel? Do you go, oh, brilliant, I love talking about money? Or do you shy away? When friends invite you out for an evening, do you cancel because you can't afford it, but don't let on? What is going on for you with money? Okay, really explore that, because that relationship is what you are bringing to the manifestation process. Okay, that is all of those feelings you are bringing with you. So it's so important to look at that first. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with where you are. That's the other thing that's really important. It's neutral. Okay, and it's building that confidence. It's being able to make peace with where you are, okay, and then do some letting go as well. So, getting in a really powerful place where you can regulate your nervous system and have a healthy conversation, have really good feelings about what it is you wish to create. We then want to move you more into that feeling energy, okay? So this doesn't matter if, I mean, you can do affirmations, it depends. Everyone's so different. I mean, repetition is key. So repeating these key messages to yourself is really important. But what I would encourage you to do is have something that evokes that feeling for you, okay? Because if you don't, you are simply going to be reading a shopping list that has no feeling behind it. So again, it's I am statements. And I tend to help people look at kind of a script. So it's almost looking at not quite a day in a life. I do move on to that for people because, you've got to regulate your nervous system. As I've said, your nervous system is wired. And so if you hate money, okay, but you're trying to manifest more of it. Your nervous system is already wired to hating money and having these really emotional responses when money comes up as a conversation. So we need to really look at that. And there's lots of ways we can do that. There's lots of ways we can start to calm your nervous system to help with that. And one of the techniques I use is something called scripting. And again, that energy is all about the feeling. Okay, so actually, the emphasis in this process is about how you feel. And, you know, that is just reminding yourself that you are powerful. Now, I appreciate you might say, well, actually, but how is that any different from just sitting there going, you know, I am abundant, I am a money magnet, when you don't really feel it. But it's actually about taking an approach where you're teaching. So we're taking gentle steps to start teaching yourself that it is safe for you to be wealthy. It's safe for you to have a BMW. It's safe for you to have a big house. Whatever it might be, we want to start teaching you, your brain, your nervous system, that it is safe. And that is the part that I often see skipped over in manifestation. It's almost like, people can have success with manifestation, but it's not long term because their identity is not catching up. And as I say, we can't really fool the universe. So my recommendation is definitely to focus so much more on the feeling. Okay, don't ignore the lack to start with. You have got to do some work there so that those feelings are not being broadcast and radiated through your frequency. Okay, and there's lots of ways that you can work on that. And then you need to move into really feeling the results. Okay, so it's like, for instance, if someone said to me, well, I want to manifest £10,000, why? Ask yourself that. Why? Well, it means that I'll be able to pay the bills. It means that I'm going to sleep well. So we already know that you're going to be less stressed and you're going to be not tired. You're going to be energized. Okay. So actually, that's what we're looking to focus on, is those feelings. So rather than saying, I want the money, we're working from the end where I'm so relaxed and so energized now that money is piling up in my account. So we've already got within that statement some feelings that you can really, really resonate with and start to focus on. But you're not focusing in that attached way. You're enjoying the story, much like you would do as you read perhaps to your children or as you watch something. You are enjoying the story. And that's the difference. We're helping you to move that frequency. We're helping you to regulate your nervous system. And then that is when you can start really trusting that things are working out for you. And I think trust is a really tricky piece. I will do a separate video on self-trust and trust in the process, which can feel so difficult, because I get that. But what I would like to say as a starting point is, if your manifestation is just yielding you more desperation, more shame, more frustration, then please stop. Please stop, because that process is just your identity. It's what you're used to, and it's just feeding into all of those old stories for you, and it's not going to get you where you can shine. So please do, add some comments below. Let me know what I've talked about today that you think might serve you for me to spend a bit more time on. And please don't be shy. Have a look on my profile. Subscribe, because I'm going to do lots of these videos, but please also send me an email. I'd love to connect. I'd love to help you. I'd love you to be able to increase that prosperity consciousness, which is so important. And your prosperity consciousness is really a reflection of everything you feel about yourself. Okay? Again, you've been taught that from an early age. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm really looking forward to making my mark here on YouTube, and I'm going to be coming on and doing regular videos. So please do subscribe if you would like to learn more about all of the things that I talk about. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you. See you soon.